Cameron Baird, the 100th recipient of the Victoria Cross. One of the last things Cameron did was reply to a letter sent to him by a Sydney schoolboy, and this week, almost 4 years later, that schoolboy met Cameron's parents. As a soldier displaying valour, few in Australia's proud military history rank alongside Corporal Cameron Baird. In Afghanistan's Uruzgan province, Corporal Baird charged a heavily armed enemy position, drawing fire away from his mates 3 times as they assisted a Special Operations Task Group pinned down by the insurgents.
I was wounded, and Cam, along with the other teams on the ground that day, moved to assist me and my team to get me out of there and ensure I survived.
Corporal Baird didn't survive. Killed in the firefight, he was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously.
Words can hardly do justice to the chaos, confusion and courage that were evident that day.
4 years on, and Cameron Baird's parents, Doug and Kay, are meeting a Sydney schoolboy with a special connection to their son. Campbell Bird was in Year 7 when his teacher asked the class to write to a soldier serving overseas.
She was married to a man at the time who was serving in Afghanistan. So at the end of the term, it came around and she said, everyone, here's some paper, just write your letter. It was, Dear Soldier. She said, write a few questions, write what's happening in the society at the moment, what's happening in the world. And then, coincidentally, I've gone to Cameron, so, yeah.
Cameron Baird wrote back.
I'm a team commander in an assault platoon. Sometimes my job is difficult, but I have good reason to do it. Making the world a safer place for others is one reason. At the time, it was pretty exciting. I'd received a letter back from a soldier, obviously serving for the country at the time. But after I then heard his achievements and what he had done for the country, that really, it hit deep.
One of the questions Campbell asked in the letter was, how old are you? Cameron said, I'm 32. Well, Cameron turned 32 on the 7th of June. His death was on the 22nd of June. So that letter was written sometime between the 7th and the 22nd of June. It would have been the last letter that he wrote.
For Doug and Kay, who have since met generals, governors-generals, prime ministers and royalty, finding this letter and meeting Campbell brings a new connection with the son they've lost.
That was absolutely wonderful. We never had any idea before we received the letter that Cameron had even received a letter. He never mentioned it to us at any time that he'd received a letter and written back to Campbell.
Cameron being a Special Force soldier, obviously he didn't tell us a lot. And probably for 5 years before his death, we didn't know a hell of a lot, but now we're learning as we go along. So this letter is just another part of the jigsaw.
And says Doug, a reminder to all Australians of the power of the pen.
I can honestly tell everybody that if they want to write a letter, please do so, because it does mean a lot to our troops. And I think probably we've just seen this example how this has gone to full circle.
And joining us is Victoria Cross recipient Dan Kieran. Good morning, Dan. Great to talk to you. Look, those final words from Cameron Baird's dad, Doug, about regular Aussies writing to our servicemen and women overseas. From your memory, what sort of a lift does that give troops?
Look, without a doubt, it's a great lift. And it's not just the letters as well. I remember being at a remote patrol base in Afghanistan, and we were getting parcels as well. And I remember opening one package one day, and it was full of Vegemite, something I hadn't seen for, 7 months. So without a doubt, a great lift to our troops that are deployed overseas.
Yeah. Now, Anzac Day is just a couple of weeks away, obviously, and it just keeps getting bigger. Does it surprise you how, things like these commemorative coins keep popping up to keep it firmly in the national consciousness?
Look, it doesn't surprise me at all. I think it is very relevant, these coins coming out as well. And if you attend the National Service in Canberra, you can see the crowds turning out each year. And, there's 120,000, I think, that attended that service a few years ago. So, look, it is an important part of Australia's traditions, and it's great to see people turning up.
Yeah. When you're serving overseas, are you aware of the support back home with things like Anzac Day? Is that important? Do the men and women talk about that?
Look, I mean, we stopped Remembrance Day, Anzac Day, whilst we were on operations. I remember, taking a minute's silence and stuff. So these things are important to us, no matter where we are in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you're a VC, so you're going to have a front and centre role on Anzac Day. Where are you going to be this year, Dan?